we are here to talk to the main boss. When I say main boss, he is the vice president of Dilip Buildcon, and he is also the head of this project from phase 1, 2, and 3. It's Mr. Atul Joshi. So thank you for giving us this time and this ride and being over here and talking to us. So the main issues of this bridge will be best understood by you, and specifically I want to know from you as the main boss, as the main person handling the administration. What were the things that were unusual that went on in making this project a success?
I'll tell you we faced a lot of issues in this project right from the beginning. But main issues I'll discuss the technical issues the challenges that we faced. First was, of course, the piling. That was a difficult part because the rock encountered here on one part it was at 22 meters, and the other end, even on 60 meters, we couldn't find the rock. So we had to stop the complete bridge for 6 months. We had to redo the design, and then we went ahead for that one. The next thing was the pile cap, because the pile cap you see here above the piles, that is, the height is 4 meters, the size is 90 meters by 27 meters, and the volume of the concrete is about 10,000 cubic meters. In terms of weightage, if I'd say, that's about 25,000 tons. So that's a huge weight and huge concrete. So basically, in a layman's language, I would say, when you pour some concrete, it generates heat. That's called hydration process. So the more the concrete, the bigger the concrete, the more it generates. So that is why curing is required. You cure it for a certain period of time. But with this type of concrete, with this massive concrete, even just the curing was not sufficient. So we were afraid the temperature could have gone above 120 degrees. And the main condition is you have to keep the ambient temperature and the concrete temperature. Difference in temperature should not be more than 20 degrees. We discussed with a lot of consultants, international consultants. We came up with a solution. We put water pipeline grid of 1 meter by 1 meter, the entire pile cap. And we bought the chillers for that one. Chillers, we continuously pump the concrete. During casting itself, we started running the water. So you can imagine the water which came out was even 60 degrees Celsius. So that was
high temperature.
That's very high temperature. So that's the way we were able to control the temperature. So that was a big challenge. Of course, we overcame it. Now the other thing was the bridge, because here there are two bridges side by side, and wind velocity is very high. So in a cyclonic condition, when the wind passes 150 kilometers per hour, 180 kilometers per hour, how the bridge is going to behave? Whether it's, there's a probability if it's not designed correctly, it may topple. There may be a lot of things with that one. So to overcome that one, unfortunately in India the tests are not done. So wind tunnel test was carried out, the full scale wind tunnel, whereas we made the model, two bridges model, complete model of the bridges. And it's a very special technology. And it's turbine, there's a turbine. So we pass the air to that speed. And then they monitor how the bridge behaves. So based on that, certain recommendations they had given. So you cannot have a concrete crash barrier. You have to let the air pass. So concrete crash barrier later on was converted into metal crash barrier. So that is how it was done.
And this the shape of it is keeping in mind all these wind velocities.
Yes, shape in mind, yes, definitely.
Another important thing that I want to know is all this structural or velocity wind checks were done in India, in Goa itself, or somewhere else?
No, not in Goa. Section of it, the part section of it, they just cut a section. That was done in Chennai. Because in India, full scale wind tunnel facility is not available. So the full scale wind tunnel test was done in Denmark. So a lot of tests were carried out. Even the cables which are being used, the design life is 120 years for that one. So there's a test called fatigue test. So unfortunately in India till now the facility is not available. So one test was carried out in China and one was carried out in Chicago, USA. So based on recommendation, when they approved, then only the cables were used.
So this wind, the cables you're saying is the lifespan is 120 years of that. Another thing is when you spoke about the cooling system for the cement and the 60 degrees Celsius, that the water that was coming out. What would happen if that was not done? What would be the consequences of that?
The consequences, the concrete would become brittle, it would crack, and once there are crack inside it, such a heavy load it cannot sustain. So later on you may have to do grouting, a lot of things, which is not desirable.
There would be a cost on the whole thing.
Definitely cost would also be there, and that's technically also not correct.
And having said that, another very important thing that I would want to ask you is the metal that is used over here. The steel, metal.
The steel for the reinforcement, I'll tell you, that's a corrosive resistant steel that we use. That's even Fe 600. I mean, that's a special grade 40 bar dia. That was used on special order. General made it for us.
Okay.
That we used. Besides that, in concrete, we had used corrosion resistant inhibitors.
Okay.
So, in the inhibitors, the admixtures that are put into the concrete, they also, resist the seepage of water, seepage of occurrence of corrosion.
Okay.
So that way, both the things together, and plus we used high grade of concrete.
Okay.
So based on that, I mean, it's I think it is safe.
Okay. And apart from this, the pillars, the tower that is supposed to come above this, the main tower where the restaurant and all other things are going to be placed, how strong is the foundation?
Foundation has been designed to cater the loads of the tower.
Okay. So the load capacity is obviously
Yes.
more than what we.
Yes, because
Then
initially
load
it was not part of our contract.
Yeah.
The towers were not part of our contract. Still, they are not part of our contract.
Okay.
But we were asked to consider the loads. I mean, to design the foundation design was as considering the towers.
Okay. So this basically, Mr. Joshi, this mega project which is up over here under your guidance has inclusive connect with everybody, like your checks and all were done in Denmark and California, other places you said. So it's a combined effort of a lot of people put together. And
Yes,
you were heading the
absolutely.
whole team all this while. So what more can you tell us about this? Any challenges or
Correct, sir. I mean, what I have been doing.
did you have sleepless nights?
Yes, definitely. Still, as on date also.
Okay. Yeah.
Because a lot of risk factors are also involved in this
Yeah.
one. But touch wood, I mean, till date we are in this bridge, we are free of any accidents.
Yeah.
So it's a right.
So-
I'd say it's a right thing for me.
So HSC requirements and everything is met, and once this thing comes to completion, the one side will be half relief, and when the full thing happens in December 2022, where you'll say it will be ready by then, I think you'll be fully relieved and you'll be at peace looking at the vehicles plying on the road. What do you say about it?
That's the dream. That's the ambition.
I think that's a goal.
Just
rather.
want to, yeah, you can say the goal. Just want to see the traffic ply on this one.
Okay, and that will give you a lot of satisfaction.
Because I
So
look
many-
forward to it more than the people of Goa.
Yeah, because it's all under you when it's happening. Okay. Having said that, Mr. Joshi, thank you so much for allowing us to be here, getting on the bridge, giving the last bit of insight that was very necessary about technicalities that were involved with this project. As we near to this project, I think this will be the latest and the insight that you have given us. We are very thankful to you, and I think every Goan is thankful to you because
I'm
this-
thankful to the Goans.
for their cooperation and all this thing. Okay, so this was Mr. Atul Joshi, the Vice President of Dilip Bilcon and the Vice President of this project, Phase 1, Phase 2 and Phase 3. So I thank you all for joining us, and thank you Mr. Atul Joshi for
Thanks,
giving
Anil.
us this platform and being a part of this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you and your team.
Thank you so much.